In this episode, Chief Michael Akinwale Omoboriowo has petitioned the federal government of Nigeria with emphasis on the General Muhammadu Buhari regime, which was between 1983 and 1985. He claims that he was arrested, humiliated, and persecuted for 17 months under the Buhari regime for no particular
Yes, my
reason.
lord, that's the
While
position.
cases like this may sound
It was
unusual
actually
today,
my fault,
this was how
and I
things
apologize
sometimes
to the
worked under
chief.
the military government. Let us know what you think about this in the
Has
comment
letter to be
section.
to released.
Yes, because
It has been released.
it has been released, my lord.
Have we started?
Not yet, my lord. It's for fresh hearing.
How many of them are today? This. What about the others?
It's not a long one.
1782 and 738. Are they coup plotters or phantom coup plotters? Or
My lord,
are they related?
No, they are related, my lord. They all dealt with illegal detention during the
Well, if that's
Major General Buhari Diabo regime.
Are they here? Is the petitioner here? Present? Is in the witness box?
Alhaji Lili Gabari, okay.
We'll swear him.
Okay.
How many witnesses present?
He's the only witness, my lord.
My lord, the General Buhari was supposed to be the other witness, but he sent a letter through his counsel.
Is his counsel here?
I don't think he's here. He has not announced appearance, my
That's
lord.
very disrespect for the commission.
The counsel is one.
If he
Abdullah.
were here, we could have then given him an update on the research he has to make before he appears again. Anybody for Buhari here?
Just sent a letter dated 17 September 2001. That's yesterday. He said the witness summons in respect of, if I may read, my lord. The witness summons in respect of the petitions of 1. Alhaji Lili Gabari, 2. Chief Akin Omoboriowo, 3. Honorable Isaac N. Shahu, and 4. Dr. Umaru Diko, in which the panel expressed General Buhari, retired, to appear as witness on the 18th of September 2001 and 26th of September 2001, respectively, have been passed to us on behalf of General Muhammad Buhari, who is currently out of the country, for our necessary action. We do not, as of now, have information as to when he will be back in the country. The undersigned, having seen the documents only this afternoon, because he has been out of the country, cannot easily lay hands on this information. The Commission may want to consider other dates, perhaps after the end of this month, long enough to be of use in the circumstance. We send our apology on behalf of our client witness. Thank you.
That letter
Yes, my lord.
becomes Exhibit 1
As my lord pleases.
tonight. And then if you like, make copies of Exhibit 1 and file in the other cases
As my lord pleases.
mentioned. Mark it and then make copies and put a copy each in of all the files of the petitioners mentioned by. Yes, swear him.
As the commission process. Do you want to swear or affirm? You want to affirm without Bible? Okay. Raise that hand up. If I say I, you follow me with your name. I
I, Chief Michael Akinwale Omoboriowo,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that the evidence I shall give
that the evidence I shall give
before this honorable commission
before this honorable commission
shall be the truth
shall be the truth
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
So I affirm.
So I affirm.
Very much.
Yes?
Yes, can you tell this honorable commissioner your full names?
I am Michael.
Go through this way. Go through this way.
I am Michael Akinwole Omoboriwo.
Where do you live?
I live at Zone 6, Abuja.
What work do you do?
I'm a lawyer.
You wrote a petition to this tribunal dated 8th of August 1999. Is that correct?
It's correct, my lord.
Yeah, if you see the petition, can you identify it?
I shall do so.
Look at this.
That is my lord.
Allah will seek to tender it in evidence.
Exhibit 2.
Now, can you read that exhibit 2?
Yes. I respectfully bring to the attention of your respected panel the legal deprivations, humiliations, and serious business losses suffered by me during the military regime of the former head of state, General Muhammadu Buhari, retired. When the popularly elected government of Alhaji Aliyu Usman Shehu Shagari was ousted early in January 1984, I was peremptorily arrested from my residence at Ijero Ekiti in the early hours of 8 January 1984, without any reason shown for it, and driven most cruelly through Ibadan to Bonin military camp, Victoria Island, Lagos, where I was kept incommunicado alongside other prominent Nigerians for about 1 week before I was again transferred to the Kirikiri maximum security prison, Lagos, for 1 month for a series of interrogations over whether or not I had large wealth or foreign accounts overseas. I explained that I was in the red in the 2 accounts I operated in Nigeria at that time, and I had no accounts. And still, I do not have any account outside Nigeria. Even now, some 15 years after the illegal detention, I still manage to feed myself and family members, not to talk of any unjust enrichment. The federal investigators who interrogated me and others told me openly that they were satisfied that I did not unjustly enrich myself while in government. When I was freed by the federal military government from the Kirikiri maximum security prison, Lagos, at the end of January 1984, I was again picked up a few months later by the military governor of the then Ondo State, late Commodore Bamidele Utiko, an Akure indigene. And after a series of humiliations and interrogations within and outside the medium security prison, where I had to be regularly taken out and paraded to Akure before yet another state panel, headed by late Chief Magistrate Ogunleye, yet another Akure indigene, the present Oni of Ife, Oba Okun Adeshiju Ade, and the late Ajiro of Ijero Ekiti, His Royal Highness Oba Iyewa II, at a point had to travel to Akure to plead in vain with the military governor of Ondo State to release me from detention. It is interesting to know that the military governor, Otiko, told the visiting Obas that Chief Akin Omoburewo did not unjustly enrich himself while in office as deputy governor of Ondo State. In spite of the government's open profession of my innocence, I was still kept incommunicado in the Owo prison for 16 months. That is June 8, 1984 to September 3rd, 1985, before I was released on the orders of a new head of state, General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida. To further prove that my detention in prison for 17 months was unjust, unfair, oppressive, and spiteful, the Justice Waifo panel, which was later appointed late in 1985 to probe former public office holders, and which reported in 1986, had this to say concerning my detention. The allegations made against this subject are baseless. He is a humble person in terms of acquisition of wealth. His release is therefore justified. My Lord, during my detention years, I suffered the following. 1, I suffered a severe psychological trauma as a result of total cutoff from my family because I had children and other dependents in universities and secondary schools, and the thought of their discontinuance weighed me down. My wife was not gainfully employed, and I had no relations to take care of them and take care of my children, more so as there was no means of communicating with them. 2, my junior sister, Mrs. Janet Abolani, became a psychiatric patient because of the humiliations meted to me and the sufferings of the members of the family. In spite of long medication, she has not recovered fully from the mental situation. She was first of all treated by Dr. Adeoye Lambo at his mental clinic at Ikeja, Lagos, before she was transferred to our mental hospital, Abeokuta, for about 2 years. She has not yet fully recovered till today. My late mother, Chief Mrs. Beatrice Omoboriowo, for the same reason given in number 2 above, became terribly hypertensive, and she developed total heart block, which eventually took her life in 1989. She had a prolonged treatment at the University of Ibadan Teaching Hospital under the direction of late Professor B.O. Oshuntokun. Since we could not afford the pacemaker recommended by the hospital to prolong her life, and the pacemaker itself was not available in Nigeria at that time, my mother had to die prematurely due to mental sufferings directly traceable to my persecution and prison detentions in 1989. 4, my business all collapsed, and even my weekly newspaper, The Premier, also collapsed during the period of my detention, and we have not been able to revive it since I was released. 5, my fundamental human rights had been violently and unjustly trampled upon by the military government of General Muhammadu Buhari. Even when their various pro-panels did not find anything against me, they still kept me in prison until September 1985. It was, to me, a classic case of sadistic political persecution. Relief sought by me My Lord, I want a declaration that I was unjustly arrested, handed about, detained, oppressed, and vilified by the same military government of General Muhammadu Buhari from January 1984 to September 1985 with a small break between February and April 1984. 2, small amendment, my Lord. An open apology from the federal government of Nigeria for my illegal incarceration. 3, restitution by the federal government for my unjust detention for 16 months for colossal loss of income, aggravated psychological trauma suffered by me and members of my family as referred to above. for substantial financial compensation by the federal government as a successor government to the military government of General Muhammadu Buhari, which clamped me into a prison detention for no just cause and for so long a time in the sum of 10 million naira. To restore me near only to my original position as a free Nigerian citizen who as a public officer has rendered substantial services for the unity and progress of Nigeria in good faith.
Yes, Chief, you refer to the federal government white paper on justice Unwanfor's panel.
Yes, my Lord.
And you said you are recommended for release in that particular white paper.
Yes, my Lord.
Yes, look, is it the white paper you are talking about? Although we want to tender the white paper in evidence.
White paper exhibit 3.
Now look at, okay. Look at page 16 of the white paper
Yes, my Lord.
and tell the commission what the federal government had to say about you or in respect of your release.
My Lord, the government white paper says as follows. Alleged offense, corrupt enrichment of self to the tune of 700,000 naira, allegedly received from a company namely Fakino Nigeria Limited. Released from detention since 1985. The allegation against the accused is baseless. He is a modest politician and a very humble person in terms of acquisition of wealth. His release from detention was therefore proper. Release affirmed.
My Lord, that's all for the petitioners.
Does anybody want to cross-examine?
I'll just 2 questions to him to clarify things. Chief, so you said in SB2, that's page 1, that you were arrested on the orders of the federal military government on the January 8, 1984.
Yes, my Lord.
And later released the same at the end of January 1984 by the federal government.
Yes, my Lord.
Then subsequently, you were arrested by the then governor, military governor of Ondo State, Bamidele Otiko.
Yes, my Lord.
So is it right to assume that it was the then government of Ondo State that arrested you?
The first arrest and detention was ordered by the federal military government, and I was placed at Kirikiri maximum security prison for 1 month. But after elaborate investigations, discovered I had no money, nor did I even have an account overseas. And so I was recommended. One Okafor was prosecuted and was recommended for immediate release. And I was released at the end of that month. But I was picked up again by the Ondo State government and was detained under Decree 2. And it's a federal enactment. So and it is government of General Buhari.
You saw the detention order on you. Was it signed by anybody on the Federal Executive Council there?
My counsel did his investigation and told me I was detained second time under Decree 2, which is a federal enactment. My Lord.
No, clearly you say it was Governor Otiko now late that ordered your detention and brought you face to face with the Obas you mentioned in SB2 and detained you for as long as 16 months. He was in charge of Ondo State and kept you, in fact, in Owo prisons in Ondo State then.
The military government, it was a unitary government. It was a dictatorship.
No, we had a constitution that said a federal constitution, even though modified by the military.
The military ruled by decrees, my lord. And in any case, once I was detained under Decree 2, that is a federal law in application. And therefore, I was detained by the federal military government, whether it was Otiko or whatever, my lord.
So, because what I want to direct you, your application for compensation is only directed to the federal government, whereas it was the Ondo State military administrator, the Ondo State government that detained you for 16 months. So it's for you to properly channel your...
Well, I don't know the details of interaction between the state and federal government in the military regime. But I do know orders always came from above. And whatever a state governor recommends, then the federal authorities also affirm. And that was the position in my own case too.
No, the above arrested you, that's the federal government arrested you and released you after investigation. Then Otiko later arrested you and kept you there for 16 months, where you made several panels and the magistrate of Ondo State government. And then you say you never saw any detention order. So to know whether it was even Otiko, rightly or wrongly, that signed it. That's what we want to get clear, so that we place responsibility.
Have you seen is this one?
I said...
Who released him? Or your state?
No, it was Babangida.
Who released him?
He said the Babangida government that came subsequently.
You didn't arrest him. How can you release him?
No, Babangida came and virtually released all the people detained under Buhari's regime.
Good.
Then.
Why?
My lord, it's only the general that can answer that, my lord. For political, to score a political score, anyway. My lord, that's all for him.
Yes, that's all. Don't worry, the federal government released you, therefore there must be party to those who arrested you.
Thank you, my lord.
Yes?
Okay.
Any other cross-examination by anybody? None.
Well, we don't know in view of phase bit 1, that's the letter from Buhari's council. We don't know.
When he's here, then we can talk about that. He's not yet here.
As my
Is
lord
he here now?
He's not, my
Well
lord.
Chief, excuse me.
Yes, madam.
I just wondered why you were arrested. What were you doing before your arrest and detention?
My lord, this was very early in January 1984. I was in my house about 2 a.m. and I just saw through the window about 4 military jeeps. I was worried, and I said, I hope assassins haven't come. But I moved out only to observe that my whole premises at Ijerokiti was surrounded by soldiers. And I saw one police officer. I said, Emekaro. He was assistant commissioner of police when I was deputy governor in Ondo State. And I spotted him. I said, Emekaro, what's happening? He said, the government wants to see you in Akure. Then I surrendered myself. I was driven from there. I was doing nothing. I was driven from there to Ilawe, through very rough road. In fact, I was surrounded by about 14 soldiers, all pointing guns at me, and I wasn't armed anyway. And then we went to Ilawe. From Ilawe, we went to Akure. In fact, the motor was speeding.
So, sir, it was after...
Horrendous.
You were not the deputy governor then?
I was not the deputy governor, my lord.
You were not?
I was no longer.
No longer?
Yes, my lord.
I see.
The coup had taken place. Okay. All civilian governments had been demobilized.
Yes.
So...
But before the coup,
yes, my lord.
what were you, sir?
Before the coup?
Yes.
I was a deputy governor in Ondo State, in old Ondo State. But I had resigned very late in 1982. Voluntarily resigned.
Before the coup?
Before the coup.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Any need for witnesses? The government released him. If he did something, if you have prosecuted him, and the inquiry found him not guilty. Any witnesses? Are the facts in dispute?
My Lord, the facts are not in dispute.
Well, do you want any more witnesses?
No, no, my Lord.
All right. Addresses within 1 week on the following items. There's no dispute that he was arrested. No dispute. Was that arrest lawful or unlawful? In other words, what were the reasons given for the arrest? 2, the fact that he was detained is also not in dispute. Question: in the overall circumstances of this case, was that detention lawful or unlawful? He mentioned psychological torture. Question: have we got enough evidence to substantiate the allegation of psychological torture? If you write up your addresses along these lines, add any other facts that you think may help us to come to a conclusion on the matter, and send your address to the Secretariat, to the Council Secretariat, within 1 week. Is that right, or 2 weeks? 1 week?
2 weeks is all right.
2 weeks. All right, 2 weeks. Thank you very much. You're now discharged. 1782.